This video is sponsored by Carnivore Companion. Well, hey there my meaty friends. I'm going to start this video off by saying three things about this recipe. Number one is that I know this is not a traditional gyro. This is a recreation of the first one I ever had. The second is that I'm probably not pronouncing it the way that you say it or even the correct way. And finally, there are some plants in this video. You can actually avoid those if you want to, but if it offends you the same way that vegan gets offended when they see someone eating a medium rare steak, feel free to click off this video. So a real gyro is typically meat that's been cooked on a rotisserie and then sliced and put on a pita with some veggies and tzatziki. Today, I'll be taking a shortcut by using ground lamb for this one. Add your ground lamb to a bowl and follow that up with 1 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground oregano or a 1/2 teaspoon of dried oregano leaves, a 1/2 teaspoon of granulated garlic, and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Go ahead and mix this by hand for a solid 3 to 5 minutes. I want to overwork it just a touch so that the structure will be a bit tighter when I cut into it. Once mixed, set aside for at least 30 minutes to let those flavors marry. For the quote-unquote pita, add in 3 ounces of ground pork rinds to a bowl, 2 large eggs, and about 2 ounces of shredded mozzarella. Feel free to blend this if you like, but I wanted more dispersed brown bits, so it looked a little closer to the real thing. Spread this mixture onto a non-stick baking mat or greased parchment paper. There should be enough for at least 2 of these pitas. It is a rather sticky dough, so I suggest you grease your hands down before pressing them out. Once they're nice and fairly flat, place them into an oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 to 13 minutes or until golden brown. While those are in the oven, let's take care of our tzatziki sauce by grabbing a cucumber and de-seeding it. Feel free to chop this, grate this on a box grater, or on a microplane like I did. You'll need about a 1/3 cup no matter what. I'll go ahead and say right now that for those of you that want to avoid these veggies, you can seriously just add salt and pepper to some whole milk Greek yogurt. It'd also just do the job. I just want to have more flavors than just salt and pepper. So you can also grate in about 5 cloves of garlic. Next up, grab a small red onion and give it a fine dice. I don't know that I've ever had tzatziki sauce with onion in it, but I had this lying around and decided to use it. It did work out, and it added a nice bite to the final product. Speaking of final product, add 2 cups of whole milk Greek yogurt to a bowl with all of your shredded and diced veggies. Season that with about a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Give this a deeply passionate spooning and set aside while we pull out our pitas. Very nice. Alright, we can finally cook this meat. I suggest placing this into a small loaf pan or a metal 6 pan if you happen to have one. Press the meat into the pan and place this into an oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 25 to 30 minutes or until cooked well done. Once it's done, pull it out and let it rest for a few minutes before slicing, or you can be a rebel and burn those fingers like I did. Slice this as thinly as you want. This is the texture I was going for, a very tight crumb in between the meat. Arrange your food in such a way as to present it to a plethora of people even though you only have 2 servings. Oh, you don't want any? Fine, I'll just make one for myself. If you change your mind, comment the word share down below and I'll make you one. I've been wanting a gyro for a long time, and to be honest, this is about how I'd want it anyways. The first time I ever had one was meat similar to this, and it was just meat and sauce. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Unless somebody just made it some other way. I'd probably have it that way too. Check out our newly released seasoning Steak Dust, along with our flagship seasoning Smokestack and our bestseller Tuckologen. Use the code CCYouTube10 at CarnivoreCompanion.com to save 10% off your first order.